I'm speaking with saxophonist Daniel Bennett. Hello, Daniel.
Hey, Bill. Good to be here.
Richard Gordon and I spoke to you for the Music Room in August 2016, just before you played a concert to a packed room at the Newark Free Library. And now you're returning to the Newark Free Library next week.
We are. We're going to be there next Friday, March 8th.
Okay.
And it's our second time playing at the library. They have an awesome concert series. They have music every month. So we're really happy and honored to be back in town.
And I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Now, you've been playing at libraries throughout the country for several years now. Why libraries?
You know, libraries have funding. This is huge for a musician. Money. They actually have some funding, which is great. So we have been able to play in over 200 libraries. I'm not making this up. You can look this up. We've played from coast to coast, all up and down the West Coast, the South, Florida, Midwest. We're actually going to be in Florida in a couple weeks playing, doing some shows at some libraries. We also do a lot of festivals, club dates, other things. But libraries have built-in funding. A lot of them do. Mm-hmm. They have great committed audiences. They have great membership, members who come out and support music. So it's a win-win for everybody.
That's great. And if you listen to WVUD for any length of time, you'll probably hear announcements for events at the Newark Free Library. They have movie series, writing workshops, teen cooking classes, etc., and, of course, live music performances. Now, I'm wondering if you saw this tweet from Aaron Glass last week. The tweet reads, "What if public libraries were open late every night and we could engage in public life there instead of having to choose between drinking at the bar and domestic isolation?"
Oh,
now, that tweet
great.
has gotten 193,000 likes so far.
Yeah. That's spot on, Bill. That's absolutely. Libraries are, and many of them have gotten smart. They're actually transitioning into full community centers, which is really what they should be. And that's great. I mean, yes to that. We need libraries that have all sorts of programs, outdoor things, indoor things, community, for families, for kids. And, there are libraries, and we've performed in libraries with huge auditoriums. The library in St. Louis has a beautiful auditorium.
Wow.
A lot of them do. Actually, Hartford, Connecticut has a great library series and a beautiful hall where they bring in music. I played there a few years ago. Mm-hmm. So these libraries have gotten smart, and they're now catering to a lot of different people. So yes to that tweet.
That's great. Now, here at UD, we do have a library that's open late every night, and like at most universities, students have a number of common spaces that they can hang out in without being expected to buy something. And wouldn't it be great if this part of university life could be replicated in the public community at large, more common spaces?
Absolutely. Look, I think it's happening more and more. I think bookstores, libraries, large rooms, anything that can cater to a large number of people. And you're seeing cafes that are popping up inside of these library spaces. You're seeing, a lot of different ways that the library can kind of, monetize it a little bit. They have to survive too. But this is where it's going in 2019, and it's beautiful. I mean, there are artists. I'm certainly not the only one. There are artists playing all over the country and tapping into the library network.
Well, that's very exciting. Now, let's talk about your new album, We Are the Orchestra. It's just two of you on there. It's
just the two of us. It's Mark Cocchio and myself. Mark is a renowned guitar player. He played all the string parts on the album. Mm-hmm. He played banjo, mandolin, bass, electric guitar, acoustic guitar. And then I played all the woodwind parts, flute, sax, clarinet, oboe. And we layered all the music to make the sound of a large orchestra, which originally was not my intent. I wanted to make a traditional album with a large group. Mm-hmm. But I had performed in a theater show called Whitman at the Whitney. It was a show that I was commissioned to write and perform in as a duo with Mark. Mm-hmm. This was about a year ago. And my producer said, look, let's make this part of that show. Let's kind of like take the aesthetic of that show, two guys making music with all these instruments. Let's make that the album as well. So I thought that at first I thought that was insane, but it actually was really amazing for us, and we saved a lot of money in the process too because there's just two of us. Uh-huh.
Well, it definitely works. And I think now I'll take a break and treat my listeners to a sample from that. I'm going to choose this time, and then later I'll let you choose one to play from it. So here is Carl Finds His Way. was Carl Finds His Way by Daniel Bennett and Mark Cochio from the new album, We Are the Orchestra. Now, I notice on this album, you've still got animals, you've still got people's names. There seem to be stories behind the songs. We've got I'm Not Nancy, Refinancing for Elephants, Carl Finds His Way. I want to ask, do you come up with titles first or music first?
You know, people ask me about our song titles a lot. I tell people if I can get the listener to smile before they even hear the song, then I'm off to a good start. So maybe there's kind of a psychological thing that I'm trying to tap into. Some of it's just wacky. There's not a lot of deep meaning. I used to write very, very conceptual music, and it was fun for me, but I found that the audience generally is not interested in following some kind of intricate storyline. So now the song title is it's funny. It makes people laugh. We have a song on the album called "I'm Not Nancy." Now that song came from a show that I play in New York called Blank the Musical. It's an improvised musical where the audience actually creates a show, and then we improvise the show on the spot. And someone suggested that the opening song should be called "I'm Not Nancy." It's a ridiculous song, so I thought it was funny. And so I thought, I'm going to use that. I'll use that on the new album. Occasionally, I'll just, something funny will happen to me, and I'll just use it as a song title.
Mm-hmm. This Blank the Musical, it's an improvised musical, as you just said, but how does that work?
It's insane, Bill. So Blank the Musical is fully improvised. People don't believe me when I say this. We do not plan any of this. We follow the arc of a Broadway show. So the audience comes to the show, and they create a show on their phone. It's kind of like musical Mad Libs. So their phone, there's an app, and it asks a lot of crazy questions, and people punch in all this information. And then we take the information and make up a show on the spot. The band, there's 3 of us in the band, and then the actors, singers. There's usually 6 or 7 people on stage. And we make up a show on the spot using their suggestions. Now we've studied the arc of a Broadway show quite a bit. We've workshopped it. We all play various other shows, so we know sort of how the feeling of a Broadway show should kind of move. Like you have the opening overture, you've got a dance number, you have a comedic number, you have a serious number, you have what they call the revolution number. That's like Tonight from West Side Story, where everyone is like at the front of the stage and they're all working through their own little personal drama, and then everything's tied up in the second act. So we're following some of that loosely, but it's made up. I mean, so the audience, we're just using what people are telling us, and the song, the style, and all of that, the audience picks. The musical director who's the keyboard player, Dan Wright, he's got a lot more work than anyone. He does have to kind of push the show forward, but it's made up. It's hard to even explain. You have to come see it. The show runs every week. We've been running since 2014. We're in at a beautiful venue called the Green Room in Times Square. So it's pretty wild.
Wow, that sounds great. Have you thought about taking it on the road?
Oh, I think that is in the works. The producers have talked about making it, traveling with the show and whatnot. So I think their goal is to kind of get it properly branded right now in New York, and then hopefully take it elsewhere.
Well, that would be fantastic. Well, let's see. Let's hear another track from your new album, We Are the Orchestra. You pick.
Ooh, let's do I'm Not Nancy, because we were just talking about it.
Okay, here it is. was I'm Not Nancy by the Daniel Bennett Group. And we're speaking with Daniel Bennett. Now, you'll be performing at the Newark Free Library next Friday, March 8th at 7 p.m. What can we expect from that?
Ooh, expect the unexpected, Bill. It's hard to even describe what our style is anymore. The music changes very quickly. It can sound like American folk. It can sound like classical minimalism, modern jazz, fusion.
I remember.
It has a lot of elements.
Yeah, last time there was it sounded like some Irish folk in there and surf guitar and Middle Eastern music even.
Right. Yes to that. And who knows? It could go in a whole different direction next week. We keep things very flexible as far as where the vibe is going. Mm-hmm. My trio, which is Coco Bermejo on drums and Nat Janoff on guitar, we play virtually every night. We have a great ongoing show at Tommy Jazz in New York City that we have been able to workshop all of this music. And the name of the game is just change styles quickly, be flexible, react to the room. It's hard to put into words, but I do think the audience can appreciate that there's something kind of new around every corner.
Mm-hmm. Well, great. I really look forward to seeing you Friday night at the Newark Free Library. If anyone listening is thinking about going, get there early because it was packed last time. Daniel Bennett, thank you for talking to me today.
Bill, thank you for having me on the show again, and we'll hope to chat more soon.
Okay, see you next week.